Saya Mahathir bin Mohamad setelah dilantik.
From fixing the economy and reducing the cost of living, to restoring the rule of law and trust in institutions of the government. Can the Pakatan government fulfill the desire for change that brought it to power in the first place?
I would like to reiterate what Tun has mentioned, which is the law, the rule of law must prevail. If the law says that investigations must go in a way that is prescribed, it has to be, no case closed. I mean, I hate it, when you see it glaring before you and no further action. I mean, please.
Dr. Mahathir has said that no deals would be made to spare Mr. Najib, even if the former Prime Minister were to offer information to recover part of the billions that one MDB had lost.
I think we should take him to court because I think we need to learn what exactly happened. We need to know where all this money came from, where all this money went. I think that is the start. It's not the end. I think it's the beginning.
Pasal skandal 1MDB ni, saya rasa orang yang paling terlibat sekali adalah Najib dan beliau adalah sangat perlu untuk menerangkan hal ni. Dan kalau boleh tolonglah jangan hilangkan segala-gala apa-apa dokumen. Tolonglah, rakyat ingin tahu perkara ni.
I would like to get Najib out of my mind, out of my hair for now. It's nothing to do with the person, it's what the action has been. I'm more interested in what has transpired over these years that has brought us, Malaysia, to almost to its knees in terms of image.
People who were involved in aiding, abetting, they should be prosecuted in a court of law.
The high cost of living was the single most important factor that contributed to a massive swing of votes to the opposition. Keeping up with its election pledge, Pakatan Harapan government announced on May 16 that the contentious GST would be abolished effective June 1st. But such a populist measure has raised concerns about the feasibility of the move. The government collected more than $11 billion in revenue from GST last year. Some experts are now wondering how Malaysia intends to meet its revenue requirements from now on.
So the budget, balancing it is already an issue. It's going to become worse. Same with fuel subsidies. That's a bigger burden on the economy. Someone pays for it, and if the government is going to pay for it, it's going to take away from something. So,
the new finance minister, Mr. Lim Guan Eng, will now be expected to oversee and manage the economic impact following the repeal of the deeply unpopular goods and services tax. The former banker and former chief minister of Penang, Malaysia's second richest state, has been widely credited for slicing 600 million ringgit or 95% of the state's debt since taking over in 2008. Moody has cautioned that scrapping the GST without any measures to offset the revenue loss would lead to heavy reliance on oil income and narrow the government's revenue base.
imagine if 20% of your pay is suddenly taken away. To replace that immediately is tough. Sales and services taxes might not accomplish that.
Will the new government now take the bold steps of ending race-based politics in Malaysia?
Well, it's in the constitution. Special Malay rights are so defined that I always tell the Malays, if we have to go back in time to those that were prescribed decades ago in order to get what position or what status we have in society, it doesn't say much for us. The young of today, I'm so glad. I mean, example, my children, they're not there because they're Malays. They are there because of their own hard work and competence.
But while it's clear that Parti Pribumi is essentially a Malay-based party that champions the Malay cause, the rest of Pakatan Harapan's component parties are not. Other component parties, such as the Democratic Action Party, or DAP, Parti Keadilan Rakyat or PKR, and Parti Amanah Negara or Amanah have always put greater emphasis on non-discriminatory principles and believe in the idea of racial equality. Pakatan MPs, however, are confident that there will come a time when Parti Pribumi Bersatu will tone down on its racial rhetoric and work towards achieving common goals with its partners.
Political parties and even politicians are shaped by what the public want. Pribumi has openly said, that they will one day pursue a multiracial party. I think we will get there.
I believe PPBM itself will, going forward, be quite non-race based. Yeah? So I think GE14 may see the beginning of the end of race-based politics in Malaysia. What's very important is we need to look at how distribution of wealth is currently being done in Malaysia. Even in places like Kuala Lumpur, we see families that are still surviving on a couple of RM100 a month in public housing projects. So the job of Pakatan Harapan is not only to articulate a new kind of politics, we need to ensure that groups that need assistance, groups that need help, receive that kind of help immediately, as soon as possible.
I think it's very hard to reverse decades, if not a century, of Malay rights overnight. I think a lot of the older generation will still have that fear deep within them. I think the younger generation are able to see past this, and I hope that then their offspring will also be raised in a way that they can see beyond the racial boxes. I think to say that it can disappear within this election period is hard. I think if they can make the economics work, if they can show institutional reform, if they can show that everybody has a place in Malaysia and that nobody gets left behind, it might work.
For now at least, Pakatan Harapan seems to have put all racial agenda on the back burner. It's focusing on more pressing issues like the economy, education, and other institutional reforms to help restore confidence in the government during the transition period. And less than a week after Pakatan came to power, Dr. Mahathir has also helped facilitate the release of PKR de facto leader Anwar Ibrahim. Instead of reviving the old rivalry, the Prime Minister in waiting has instead pledged his loyalty to Dr. Mahathir's administration and gave him his full support.
I have my reservations initially and cynicism about the so-called agreement or reconciliation efforts. When he came to see me and then he showed such compassion and concern, which I thought was absent in the past.
They're both older now. They're 20 years older than they were before. And there's so much water that's gone under the bridge, as they say. Perhaps both have mellowed. It's an old partnership, a kind of a rebooted, old partnership. So people are still in a very critical mood now. But on the other hand, a lot of people think that we should give them the trust. Because trust is important, right?